One of the things that we were very mindful of is often when you're forming equity partnerships, often getting in, it's the last thing from people's mind is how they're going to get out, but it's the most important document you can ever have at the time. My name's Barbara Kuriger. I'm a dairy farmer with my husband Lewis and a mother of 3 adult children. I've just recently turned 50 and now we're at a stage in our career where we're starting to look at succession planning and giving our children a go at what we succeeded in doing in our younger years, if you like, although I still consider myself young. I believe succession planning starts a long time before you get to that space, and one of the things that we've always done through our dairying career is absolutely enjoyed it, been passionate about it, spoken highly of it and got involved in it. And I think if you carry that pride through life with you, then it's much easier to convince other people that you're part of a good thing and then they want to be part of it too. At no stage in the development of our children did we ever suggest that they go farming. We always just were positive in ourselves. We discussed that that's what we had chosen and we wanted them to choose what made them happy. They all went off and did other things, including chemistry degrees, diploma in hotel management. They've tried music, sign writing and various other things. I think the trigger point in all of our children deciding to come back farming, and I do keep calling them children while they're all adults now and they're all taller than me, is I did a course on succession planning, and one of the things that happened at that course was I realised that it didn't really matter if they didn't milk the cows ever again in their life, as long as they could understand the business, so that if something happened to us, then they could choose whether they sold the farm, whether they operated it themselves, or whether they chose to put a share milker or a manager on, but at least they would have choices. So I came home from that course and I said, I relayed that to them. I said, look, I don't mind if you're not farmers, but I would encourage you to understand the business so that then you've got choices going along in the future. And one by one they all decided to get interested in the business, and now they're all milking cows, which is quite fascinating. 2 of them are going to be going into equity partnerships with us this year, and the 3rd one is actually farming in Belclutha, managing a 550 cow farm. The succession planning thing that we're now looking at of taking our family into equity partnership, the 2 eldest, and the 3rd one certainly wants to join the family business at some point in time. The biggest thing, or the biggest obstacle for us, was making sure that we had the right structures in place to take the business forward. It's quite scary when you're going into something to think that you've got it set up legally well, you've got all the right tax implications, that it works with the bank, and it was getting quite confusing to us as to what structures we should use, how should we transition from the current trust that we had with the family. And so what we did was, we started speaking individually to our lawyer, our accountant and our bank, and knowing that they had various opinions, we decided the best thing we could do was bring all 3 parties together into the same room with us and with our family, so that we could put on the table what it was we wanted to achieve, and they could advise us on the best processes and structures to be able to do that. What was really interesting for me was that we've been like sponges and we've just learnt so much, but I was amazed at how much all of these professionals could teach each other as well. So it's been a great experience for them, because often you think this is a good structure and the accountant will say, what about the tax implications, or vice versa, this is a great way to bank it, but hang on, we can't legally do that. You know, there's a whole lot of things that if you've actually got everybody in the same room, you can cement it down on one day rather than going backwards and forwards and relaying a story that in the beginning ourselves we don't have the tax knowledge or the legal knowledge to be able to even take those stories from one professional to the other at times. One of the things that we were very mindful of is often when you're forming equity partnerships, it's just as important to work out how you're going to get out at the other end as you are getting in. I mean, often getting in, it's the last thing from people's mind is how they're going to get out, but it's the most important document you can ever have at the time. And I've had some experience which, without the right documentation, it hasn't proved to be easy. The last thing you want to do is let that happen in a family, because you're not only disjoining a business if that happens, but you don't want to test your family values. You actually still want to be able to come out as friends. So I think putting that bit of input, spending the cost on having the professionals working it out as well as you possibly can in the beginning is well spent money. Some of the books I like to read are probably, I've heard people who read novels and things describe some of these books as psychobabble, it's kind of feeding your mind, but I get a lot out of some books, and one is called The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey. And it's really, two of the key messages that I really take out of here, my main messages are, when you're dealing with other people, seek first to understand and then to be understood. And I think that's so important. We can't prescribe our views onto somebody else. We need to know what theirs are. And the other one is win-win or no deal. So you're always looking at the potential for both parties rather than just what's in it for me, and I think that just helps things succeed so much better. The other one is called The Present by Spencer Johnson. It's a simple little book, and it really talks about using the past to learn from mistakes, living in the present and using it to plan for your future. And they're just two little books that I pick up from time to time. I don't necessarily always read them from cover to cover, but I just pick up pages and get quotes out of them. This is one of my little treasures. It's a gift I got from a strategic leadership course that I did once. We were in groups of 5, and the main intent of the first part of the course was to get to know the people you were working with. And at the end, we all presented each other with a little gift, and mine's handwritten inside this lovely little engraved case which I bought for it. The thing that really taught me so much from that course was that often we look at people and we meet them, we ask them what they do, and we all seem to be valued by what our employment is in life rather than who we are. And I think what that taught me greatly was that underneath our jobs and our everyday life there's a person, and the more we can get to know each other, feelings, aspirations, personality types, the better we can work together. And so this was my little gift from my team, and it's proved highly valuable. I take it out every once in a while and read it, particularly if you're having a day where you think, oh gee, I'm dumb today. You kind of pick it out, and other people haven't told you quite the same story as what you're actually telling yourself, which is good.